Ah, Europe, you beautiful continent. You gave us Mozart, colonies, the telephone, this guy, and for some reason Eurovision. However, your weird custom and trade union, named the European Union, is what makes you popular nowadays. Unless you lived under a rock for the last 70 years, we all know what the European Union is. A short history though. It wasn't always named the European Union. It started as the European Coal and Steel Community, signed by Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and West Germany. Besides integration and collaboration, its real purpose was to monitor each nation in case one wanted to build weapons without the other nations knowing about it. Over the decades, it went from border controls, custom fees, and different currencies to Schengen, Common Market, and Euro. 70 years later, and somehow the European Union isn't a country or a federacy. But what if one day it will be? In 2020, the European Union's GDP is 19.1 trillion US dollars, with a population of 446 million. The GDP per capita is around 37,000, but this differs from country to country. Besides exports and manufacturing, tourism is probably what Europe is known for. That and causing 2 world wars. Looking at this chart, we can see the most popular countries by tourists in 2019, and with no surprise, Europe takes half of it, with France and Spain leading the chart. So if we combine all of the EU states into one, we'll get over 300 million tourists, which will make the United States of Europe by far the most visited country in the world. The European Union's tourism revenue reached 543 billion US dollars in 2018 alone. The reason why Europe is a hotspot for tourism is because the area is full of history, diversified cultures, amazing nightlife, delicious European dishes, and fast low-cost flights between the countries. It goes without saying that this diversity plays an important role in attracting people. Now let's jump to more serious matters: security. Until this day, the European Union does not have its own collective standing military force. What it has instead is the capability of each member to mobilize in the event of a total war. Europe is still under the protection of Cold War-era NATO alliance, and 22 out of 27 current EU members remain active NATO participants. Regardless, the USE, let's call it that way, has over 1.5 million active military personnel, 7,700 tanks, 2,450 aircraft, including helicopters, and nearly 550 warships and submarines on call. The only country that has its own nuclear warheads is France, with 300 ready to launch. We are not going to count the ones that belong to the United States that are currently hosted in Germany, Italy, Belgium, and the Netherlands. The United States of Europe spends around $208 billion on its military. Now that we saw the Europe's capability, I'm going to compare it with the world's biggest superpowers, USA and China. The USA has a GDP of $21.4 trillion with a population of 340 million. The GDP per capita is 65,000. Military speaking, the world's champion has 1.4 active military personnel, 6,289 tanks, a massive 13,264 aircraft, and 490 warships. The nuclear warheads number 6,185 ready to launch. The military spending is a massive $750 billion. China, on the other hand, has a GDP of $14.1 trillion with an intimidating 1.4 billion inhabitants and a GDP per capita of around 10,000. 2,183,000 are active military personnel, followed by 3,500 tanks, 3,210 aircraft, and 777 warships. The nuclear warheads are similar with our European counterparts, 290. China's military spending is slightly bigger than Europe, $237 billion. We all know that both USA and China possess an impressive force capable of projecting power globally. But looking at the numbers, the United States of Europe could easily be one of them. Comparing all three, we can see that America has the biggest economy and the largest nuclear arsenal, but it will be dwarfed in population by China, who has more people than USE and USA put together. China also has the largest army. Unfortunately, the United States of Europe will be second and third in everything. I presume that after centuries of war and conquest, Europe retired and opened the hottest tourist destination ever. On the long term, however, we all know that China will be the most powerful country in the world, since their annual growth is 6.6%, followed by USA with 2.9% and USE with 2%. But again, that differs from country to country, as we can see in this image where Romania has 4% and France 1.7%. However, we are expecting an economic crash due to COVID-19, aka coronavirus, so those statistics will change drastically according to this prediction, and Europe will take the hardest hit with -9% drop. But tragedy has a habit of bringing people together, and that's exactly what happened now. Countries around the world are helping each other to fight this virus. It is hard to imagine if the United States of Europe will pass the test of time, or how the world would look like in the future. But globalization is making everything more accessible, and humanity was never as united as now. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.